Hi everyone, this is Catherine with Stamping Up in Cards and Art. And today I wanted to show you my junk journal. That's what this is called, it's my junk journal. And this is only with current catalog Stampin' Up products, so anybody who likes what they see can also create this. So here's just some of the pages in my junk journal that I've already done. There's more, I'll get to those later. I'm going to be teaching you how to make the cards that go with each junk journal page, as well as a phone case holder. So for the phone case holder, I just made a template right out of my own clear phone case, and then just started working with the products from the suite. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Today I'm going to use Abigail Rose. Abigail Rose is on page 56 and 57 in this catalog, and you can also find it online, and I will attach my links to this. Here you can see all the products that are included, and if you buy the whole bundle, and it comes with the paper, the ribbon, the stamps, and the dies. And that's what I'll be using today. This is my Abigail Rose and Cottage Rose design number 1. Here's the Cottage Rose paper, which I just love. It's beautiful. Lots of different shapes. I love, or lots of different designs. I love this look with that works out great for a junk journal, as well as the flowers with the script behind it. And take some of this out for you. Oh, I have some cut up pieces here. I cut out a lot of these so that I could color them and add them into my work. So just some fun pieces to work with. Oh, and I love the stripes. I'll show you the stripes. So cute. All the paper is double-sided, so you have lots of choices and different designs that you can make. Along with the Cottage Rose paper, I also chose to use the Petal Pink paper. Petal Pink was my least favorite color when I first started working with it, which has now become my most favorite color. In fact, everything I see that's Petal Pink, I just want to buy it, no matter what it is. So I'll be using the Petal Pink cardstock as I go through. I'm also going to be using the Kraft paper. Let me show you that. Let me grab it. Here we go. I'll also be using the Kraft paper for parts of this to show you what I've done. Let me just move the journal out of the way because we're going to be working on the card. And then from the card, you can always make journal pages if that's what you choose to do, or make the phone case. Okay, so the first step I did was I got my Petal Pink paper. I already have that here, and I'm going to have all the dimensions down in the notes so that you can look at it there. Then I took my snippers and just roughened up the edges, so you can see here how they're all roughened up all the way around. So I'm going to do that now. A lot of different ways you can roughen up. Some people use their fingernails, some people have special tools for that. I have some older tools from years ago, but I thought I would just go ahead and use my snippers so you can just see how it works. Real quick, and if you accidentally tear your paper, that's okay, because you can just put that right into your design. There we go. I am done roughening that piece. Next step I did was I took the Kraft paper with the, let me grab it, with the Versamark ink, which is a kind of a clear ink, and I used it with the large flower design and just stamped it all over the Kraft paper. And even though that's clear ink, it dries, it gets darker, and it really shows up well on the Kraft paper, and I really like that look. So what I'm going to do, I want this piece to go in the corner here, so I'm going to just tear. I know it's like, oh, you just made that pretty design, now you're going to tear it. But that's kind of what gives it this look, this shabby chic kind of junk look. So once I tear it, I might even, with just my fingernail here, roughen up the sides, even though it doesn't really need it. I like the look of a little bit roughened up. And this side's already rough because it has been torn. We'll get to the darkening part in a minute. Let me just move on. The next piece I have is one strip of that striped paper. I liked the stripes going across for this piece, and then I just tore off the bottom to give it another rough look. You can also roughen up those edges with your fingernail or your scissors, or you can just leave it. I think on this one I left it. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on here. Okay, so that piece is ready to go. Next, I took a piece of the paper in the kit, and then I took my brush with some of the Petal Pink ink, and then just kind of, and you could dab that off if you feel it's too bright. And then let me go ahead and do this. I had already added a little bit of the, let's see, I want to make sure I have the right color name. The soft suede. I had already added a little bit of the soft suede to this, and now I'm adding a little bit of the Petal Pink, just so it has some brightness as well as a little bit of antique-y, older look. And that's probably about all I'll do. So you can do it any way you like, but that gives you an idea. So that piece is almost ready. Again, on this piece, I did take the scissors and roughen up all the sides, even though one side is torn, or two actually. So then I took the scissors to make the rest of it a little bit roughed up. We're looking for that antique junk journal look, kind of shabby chic. See, I tore the paper. That's okay. I'll just bring it right into there. I might even curl it a little bit and go with it. No two will ever look exactly alike because I am changing how I do it all the time. You never know what piece of paper is going to do what, or how it's going to fit in with your look. So I kind of work with it in all different ways. Okay, so the next piece I have is It's Going to Be Fab. And so that is part of that accounting paper, it looks like to me, or something like that. And I just made it about an 1.5 by 1.5, or maybe it's 2 by 2. I'll put the dimensions again in the bottom, so you don't have to worry about that. I roughened up all 4 sides. See, a little piece tore, that's okay. Don't want it to tear too much because this is so small. Okay, once I've got it roughed, now I'm going to go ahead and stamp that It's Going to Be Fab. Again, I'm going to use the soft suede and my stamp. I have my stamp. I'm going to put it right there on my block. It's going to be fab. There we go. And yes, it is. So that piece is just about ready. Next, I have the flower that I stamped already on just a piece of white cardstock right here. Then I took my Petal Pink ink and just pushed it together like this. So you have a little bit of ink right there. Let me move these pieces out of the way. And I used the water painter. What's really neat about this water painter, the water's already in it, so it's very non-messy. Squeeze a little, get that water going, and then mix it right in with that paint. And now I'm going to paint in my Petal Pink colors. You can also use the blending markers, Stampin' Blend markers, and you can use the Petal Pink Light and the Petal Pink Dark to highlight the shadows and the lines. I also like doing it this way. Some people don't have the markers and just have the stamping pads. Sometimes I like the look of watercolor, and how it can change its lights and darks. I really like that. So there you can see the lights and the darks and how pretty that turned out. Now I'm just going to clean off my water paint brush. And next, I like to use the Wink of Stella. Wink of Stella is like a glittery paint, and you squeeze it, a little bit gets on the brush, and then I just go in little circles. You can make lines but basically what you want to do is just fill in the whole picture with the Wink of Stella. This makes it super glittery, and I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it turned out gorgeous, and I have pictures that I'll share later that will show you. I'm right at the end of this Wink of Stella, so it's hard to get some out, but it's there. I mean, I can see the glitter. Once I've finished with the Wink of Stella and the coloring, then I'm going to cut out this piece. And now that it's drying, you can see it even better, I think, the sparkles, hopefully. And here's one that's been cut out. And this one looks like I hadn't done the Wink of Stella yet. So I'm just gonna do that right now while I've got you here. Wink of Stella is so easy to use, and it really highlights different parts of your projects. Turns out beautiful. Okay, so there that is that one, and it's sparkly and it's ready to go. I'm gonna look at my completed card again. You see right here, this is a piece of vellum doily. These are on clearance right now through Stampin' Up. They're square vellum doilies, and I've used these in lots of projects, and they can be cut up and used in so many different shapes. I've done a lot with these. Here is one just cut right in half across the angle, and I just put that up in the corner. So we'll use that in a minute. You can also use the watercolor on these. You can use markers on these. You can make them all different colors, which I will show you in some other projects later. Next, I have my leaves that I'm going to also use the water paintbrush. You can see I've got a little bit of that petal pink on there, which is okay, although I'd rather it didn't. I didn't clean my paintbrush well because I'm kind of rushing because I don't want this video to be forever long. So that's okay. We're going to go with it. I think I like it, actually. It's just my green leaves with some variant of some pink inside. Next, I cut out my leaves that are kind of different, multicolored there. And I have that now ready to go. And you can add Wink of Stella if you want your leaves to be sparkly. The next thing I did was make these flowers and leaves. And what I used for that is the dies. Let me get them out here. So I used these dies on the Petal Pink paper and the soft seafoam paper, which I have right here a little bit of. I like to use scraps, by the way, so I will always be using teeny tiny pieces until I have to use a bigger piece. But these papers had plenty of space on them, so I went ahead and used a scrap to make my leaf and my pretty flowers out of my Petal Pink. Once I cut those out, put those away. I got those ready to go, and I think my leaves have decided to crawl away. I'll find them in a minute. So now I'm ready to start assembling, but before I do, I want to roughen up with my soft suede and a brush. I'm going to use an older brush for this one because it's such a dark color. Move that out of my way. So now I'm just going to tap it in there and just lightly go over the edges. If some gets on the paper, that's just fine. I think it looks even better. And there we are. So that piece is ready to go. I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. when you've roughened up the edges with the snippers, it does tend to leave some little white pieces, and sometimes they'll get in your ink pad or all over your brush. That's okay. There we go. There. If you want it darker, you can go across it several more times. If you prefer it lighter, or if you don't like it at all, you don't have to do this part. So I didn't even do it on this piece. This piece is small and I like the color of it, so I didn't use it roughen up and darken there, but I definitely did do it on this piece. Go ahead and get that one going. Sometimes if it gets on the corner, I like to round it. I think it looks a little bit more realistic that this was old paper that's been sitting somewhere found. Last but not least is the Petal Pink paper, which I did not discolor. I liked it to be light. And actually on this one, I didn't even darken the flower one. So that's okay. You can do it either way you like. Okay. Now we're going to put this all together. So I have my multi-glue, and first step is I'm going to take my white cardstock that I already have ready to go. Put my glue on it. You can also use your two-sided tape, however you prefer. Make sure you have it facing the right way. I've done it many times where I've actually attached it and made the whole card and then found out I was opening it up backwards. That was a fun fix. Had to cut it off and re-glue it onto the correct way. All right, so now what I do is double check my card, see what I've done next, what piece, so I have it in the right order. It looks like the next deepest piece is my stripes. So I'm going to put those on next. And it doesn't really matter exactly where you put pieces. This is it's just a mashup of all different parts and pieces, so it's okay if you have them in all different places. Next piece is this one, and go ahead and stick that one on. So I'm going to put the glue on it. Some people might like this side better, which is beautiful as well. Either way works. Now this one I have it closer to the top, but I don't want it all the way up because I want to see some of that petal pink back there. And I love that this is torn right here, so you can really get a little glimpse of that petal pink right there too. Okay, once that's glued down, next step is my Kraft paper that I've stamped with the Versamark ink. Sorry, I'm down to the last of this glue too. I'm gonna have to get a new one out. And then that one I put down in this corner again, not all the way to the end. I want to be able to see my pretty petal pink paper. Okay, so next I can get some idea of like where I'm going to be putting these. Before I do that though, I'm going to have to put down my vellum doily in the corner like that. So I'll do that in a minute. Get my it's going to be fab right here, and my flower. And once I find my flower leaves, I will add them, but for some reason they have disappeared on me. Oh, that's okay. So I'm going to start with my flowers. Now I still use this. You can use glue dots. You can use other types of glue. Just depends how you want to put it on. I just put teeny little bits all over the back of this flower, making sure to get some of the edges. And then I'm just going to set it on. And it will sit in there and glue right down. My fingers are a little sticky, so it's trying to come up with me. Not gonna let it. There we go. I'm gonna wait on these two and do my vellum next. Now the vellum, the glue can be seen through it, so sometimes people prefer to use other methods. I usually just like to glue where I know is going to be covered, likely. So I'm going to put that one right in here. So one of the key points of doing this kind of a card is layers. You want to do lots of layers. Next, I'm going to do my leaves, which will be going about right in there. And I'm going to glue down the leaves, but I'm not going to glue down the flower. Instead, I'm going to use, let me go ahead and glue that little one down. Instead, I'm going to use my dimensionals for the flower. I'm also going to use dimensionals for the It's Going to Be Fab. So just a few on here. You don't like using that many, you could cut them up, spread it out a little bit. For me, this is just easier. Take off the backs. And I'm going to put that right over those leaves, but covering where I glued the vellum. And this one's going to go right in here. Again, does not have to be anywhere specific or perfect, just in the general area. Okay, now the last part is the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels. I actually have to write it down on here because I took the card that went with this off. And these are also available on our website. I will send you that, or I'll have that information listed below. And I use the Take Your Pick tool just because it's easier for me, especially with my fingernails. I'm going to just grab some of these cute rhinestones. I might even look at my card how I did it over here, but I might do it differently. I happen to have a flower in this corner, so I put one right in the center of the flower. I don't have that here. Well, I have one over here, but maybe I'll put it in the center of that flower. And I have big ones and smaller ones. I think there was some medium ones, but they're already used up. Now I'm going to just put them randomly in a few different spots. I do like some over here by these flowers to highlight them. And I did put a large, or medium one, it looks like, but I don't have any more. I'll put a large one right here on my little phrase. And let's see, another little one over around these flowers. How about right in there? Yeah, there we go. Now I have two cards using the Abigail Rose Suite or bundle, as well as I made the phone case, which I can't put my phone in right now because I'm using the phone for recording, but I'll show you what it looks like. I just did a quick outline of my phone, made the cardstock. I used the Petal Pink Cardstock, the vellum doilies, the same flower and leaves with the wink of Stella on it, the same little striped piece. I used a little one, probably a bigger one might have looked better. Cardstock that had been, or in the craft paper that had been stamped on. And I don't know if you can see this, but in the background, I also did some stamping right on this paper of just the smaller flowers. And then the cutout flowers and leaves in a little bit more vellum. And there you have it. And then lastly, go back to where I started. This is my junk journal page where I used a lot of the same techniques, a little bit different papers on some of them. This technique right here with the petal pink that was brushed into the paper is right there. I cut out some of the words to change what I wanted to say on here. I darkened this piece a little bit more. There's the vellum again. And there's the other half of that vellum, lots of those little, here's some of the smaller flowers. Well, at least one is on here. And the rest is same. And also with the bundle, you get the linen, here it is. It's the natural linen ribbon, or natural finish ribbon. I love this ribbon, I love the feel of it. I say linen because it feels like linen. Put a piece across here. I didn't have any on my card this time, but it could be added if a strip, if you want to add a random strip, Or if you want to tie a bow and add it on, that would work too. And there you go. That is the first lesson from my junk journal. My next one will be using the same suite but very different colors and look. See you then.